Over the years, Hyundai's Great India Drive has become a celebration of everything that makes India unique and discovering its hidden gems. This year's Great India Drive saw us head to the Rann of Kutch in Gujarat, which is one of the most unique places on the planet with its vastness, beauty, and the massive salt reserves. 2025 marks a decade of excellence for the Hyundai Creta as the best-selling mid-size SUV in India, and that's besides the fact that the Creta has always been one of the most popular nameplates as well. And of course, this is also the year that sees us become a part of the 8th edition of the Hyundai Great India Drive, and this is an expedition that has always helped us explore our own country and see parts of it like we've never done before. And for 2025, we are starting off the Great India Drive from the vast and expansive Rann of Kutch in Gujarat. But this is just the start of the journey. Let's begin. To experience the run and explore its desolateness, we had with us the entire lineup of SUVs from Hyundai, including the Exter, the Venue, the Creta, the Alcazar, and the Tucson as well. The Creta is the most special of them all to me though, as it's no less than a benchmark in the mid-size SUV segment with its comfort, tough build quality, premium interiors, features, and more. And making this more than just a drive across the Rann of Kutch was a unique opportunity. Getting to drive the petrol, diesel, N-line and electric versions of the Creta together. Over the years, I've driven the Creta extensively on tarmac, be it in city or on long road trips, but this is the first time I'm spending as much time driving a Creta off-road because this is the Rann of Kutch and there's nothing here but dirt and undulations. The Creta was perfectly at ease through it all though, thanks to its well-tuned suspension that was soaking up the bumpy surface and undulations very well. In fact, its plush ride quality is a big reason behind the Creta's immense popularity with buyers across spectrums. And with the Creta Electric entering the ring now, Hyundai is poised to start a new chapter in the SUV's success story. And that's because the Creta Electric builds on the Creta's strengths as India's most popular mid-size SUV with its familiar yet futuristic design, interiors that look and feel more premium than every iteration of the Creta, and above all else, its brilliant electric powertrain. With an ARAI certified range of 473 km per charge, the Creta Electric is an SUV that makes you forget about range anxiety entirely. And on our drive, the Creta's electric motor was merely sipping juice from the 51.4 kWh battery pack thanks to its excellent energy efficiency. This while sending 171 PS to the front wheels, which also makes the Creta Electric the most powerful version of the SUV yet. And driving it across the Rann of Kutch was a special experience indeed. Of course, the run is special too. It is vast and looks awe-inspiring, being a white salt desert that's home to some stunning landscapes. The run also lets you enjoy striking-looking sunsets with its desolateness as the white salt and orange-red skies look breathtaking. And once the sun goes down, the run also turns into one of India's best locations for stargazing. The run is also known for its centuries-old handicrafts as locals in villages engage in pottery, block printing, embroidery and more. It's a place that should be on your bucket list if you like travel and adventure. And before we bid adieu to the run, we also drove across what is known as the Road to Heaven, which is a stunning-looking stretch of tarmac cutting through the white run, with nothing but just a sea of white salt on either side. And with that, the first leg of this year's Great India Drive has come to an end. Now, I've been to the Rann of Kutch a few times before this, and as always, the experience has been mesmerizing again. More so this time because we've actually driven across the run, and I've done so driving every version of the Creta on sale right now, which is the petrol, the diesel, the N-line, and even the electric. But this is not the end of this year's Great India Drive. It's now time for me to drive on for leg 2. And after the desolateness of the run, this is a welcome change because I am now in Maharashtra, close to the Sayadi mountain range. And since this year's Great India Drive is all about exploring Uncharted India, it's now time for me to head to a very special place and one that's no less than a hidden gem, Kolhapur is a city that's steeped in history and has had a very important role to play in the Maratha Empire particularly. It's also known as the land of royals and bravery, being the birthplace of many rulers in the past. It might be smaller than several other cities in Maharashtra geographically, but Kolhapur outshines a lot of larger cities in the state in terms of cultural and historical importance. And for this leg, I'm driving the diesel automatic version of the Creta, which uses Hyundai's tried and tested 1.5-litre engine. Driving the Creta on the NH48 that continues down south from Gujarat gave me a chance to experience the Creta's prowess as an SUV for road trips yet again. The Great India Drive was also giving me a chance to experience its versatility, as I had just driven the Creta off-road across the Rann of Kutch and was now bolting across a smooth highway in it. This was also quite a change in terms of the scenery, as the vast and desolate run had been replaced by lots of greenery and mountains. And soon, I found myself approaching the city of Kolhapur. We're at the famous Panhala Fort now, which is a very important one. In fact, this is not just a fort, it's literally a chapter in the history of the Maratha Empire. More importantly, it's not really a fort to say so. Panhala is like a town that's perched on the edge of a plateau, overlooking a route that was a very important trade route back in the day, and which is why this fort is of very strategic importance and has seen a lot of battles and also changed hands a lot of times back in the day. The history of the fort spans over 1,000 years, and its strategic positioning is what made it a very important one back in the day. The Panhala Fort has witnessed several battles and also changed hands multiple times between different dynasties over the centuries. In fact, the Panhala Fort is the one where Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was besieged for about 5 months before making a daring escape. But more importantly, Panhala is not just a fort to say so. It is a town in itself with its own municipal council and sits by the edge of a cliff in the Sahyadri mountain range. We're now at one of the standalone structures in the fort, which is a building known as the Sajja Koti. And Sajja Koti literally translates to building with a balcony, and this is a building that was used for high-level meetings back in the day. And besides those high-level meetings, this is also a building that allowed soldiers to keep an eye on enemy movements in the valley below, given how strategically this building is positioned right next to the cliff. On another note, getting to the fort was also a huge change in terms of topography for me, as I was now at a fort on top of a hill, literally the polar opposite of the Rann of Kutch, which is a sea and a vast expanse of nothingness. This was also just a small example of how diverse our country is, and exploring the Panhala Fort and learning about its history was a very different but very engaging experience too. And done with the exploring the fort, I then decided to head to the city of Kolhapur for something that I was looking forward to very keenly. It's now time to trace the origins of something that has put the city of Kolhapur on the world map, the Kolhapuri chappal. These are the OG Indian footwear and a traditional form of footwear that's hugely popular. And in fact, these are now a global phenomenon because Kolhapuri chappals are very famous in international markets as well. They are very cool, trendy, and they have their own GI tag as well. Origins of the Kolhapuri chappal date back to the 12th century. The rulers back then encouraged local shoemakers to start making them and even promoted them by wearing the chappals themselves. This centuries-old tradition continues to be a mainstay for hundreds of families in and around Kolhapur even today, and is an art that's been passed on from generation to generation. More importantly, the chappals are made by hand entirely even today, which makes them very special. In fact, Kolhapuri chappals are hugely popular and a fashion statement internationally, and also considered very cool. There's also a bustling street in Kolhapur that's famous as the dedicated market for Kolhapuri chappals, and one that's lined with nothing but shops selling the footwear in hundreds of designs and patterns for men, women and kids too. But a lot of hard work goes into handcrafting each pair, as we found out, visiting some of the local artisans, and watching them at work. The entire process is spread across stages like it would in a factory, with different families taking care of different parts of the chappals, be it cutting the leather into the desired shape, braiding the straps, coloring them by hand using dyes, or making the intricate designs on the chappals using embellishments. It's all handwork with no machinery involved, which is what makes the Kolhapuri chappals so special and a much sought after pair of footwear, given that this is a form of traditional craftsmanship unlike few others. So be it exploring the vastness of the Rann of Kutch or driving down to the city of Kolhapur and exploring it, especially the art of making Kolhapuri chappals, this year's Great India Drive has really brought a smile to my face with the realization that there's so much more to explore in our country than I have been able to. All in the Hyundai Creta, an SUV that's a benchmark in itself because while most buyers might end up driving it on tarmac and in the city, this is an SUV that's never shy of treading off the beaten path. And it's experiences like these that truly help in making the Great India Drive so special.